All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Thursday, September 25th. We've got a 12-game MLB slate to dive into in today's video like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like in the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays so that I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest, if you do want to fade me, all of that absolutely free down in the pinned comment. In terms of how we did yesterday, finally, and I mean finally, a nice and green day. We go 5-2. The Astros, what a sucker spot there. They end up losing yet again to the Athletics. The Cardinals and the Giants first 5 under are other loser, but the Brewers came through. The Rays came through. In that same game, the Orioles team total under. That comes through. We had the Royals and Angels first 3 under 2.5. That comes through, as well as the Pirates and Reds nerfy. That one was really juiced, but nonetheless, still took a 5-2 day that was very much needed. But like I said, guys, we got a 12-game slate to dive into in today's video. We're not at the normal setup, so yes, things are going to look a little bit different. We have more of the OG look of the slate. We'll go through each and every game. I'll give you my prediction on the side, total, and any player props that we're liking in the spot as well. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check out our Thursday Night Football video and our H2H video that posted live today on the channel. Those are up right now, so go ahead and check those out. But let's dive into game number 1 here. Cincinnati taking on Pittsburgh. So Cincinnati coming off the loss yesterday to Pittsburgh. We did have the nerfy in that game, and funnily enough, it actually ended 4-3 in the 11th inning. Now, on the mound today for Cincinnati is going to be Nick Lodolo. We've said over and over again we don't like backing him when he is, at home. He's more of a road pitcher. That being said, he's been very, very good against righties this season, and there's a ton of righties in this Pittsburgh lineup. He's going up against Braxton Ashcraft, who I do think is pretty good, doesn't get the recognition he deserves, but he throws a lot of fastballs, and this Cincinnati team starting to hit that fastball. They're now 5th in the bigs in the last 30 days hitting that fastball. So given it's a team that, is really trying to make it to the playoffs and everything like that versus a team that's not, I do like the Reds in this spot. I also don't mind their team total over. I do think that, this is probably a spot in which we want to factor Lodolo in, so maybe them on the money line is the good move, or first 5 money line, something like that. But, if you want them to go out there and score 4, maybe 5 runs, get a little spicy with it, I could see that happening as well. In terms of player props here in this spot, Spencer Steer, I do think has a decent pitch mix here. He's got a above average OPS against right-handed pitchers as well, but I'm really looking at that fastball and slider combo. He's above 4 in terms of runs above average against both of those pitches, so could be a good look for him as well. But honestly, Cincinnati money line might just be where we go. All right, game number 2 here. We have Tampa Bay taking on Baltimore. Tampa Bay, one of our money line cashes from yesterday. Cade Povich on the mound from Baltimore, going up against Drew Rasmussen. Now, the odds kind of strike me as weird in this spot. The fact that we can get such a massive pitching advantage in Rasmussen at -119 is a little puzzling. I know the Rays haven't been playing all that great at baseball, but are we going to sit here and act like Baltimore is all that great of a team? Throw in the fact that we have, a fastball cutter and sinker predominant pitcher coming from Rasmussen. I do like the spot. Now, the one angle, if you want to go for, taking a peek at the Orioles today, and I don't really get why you would, because you're only getting plus 107, plus 110 on them. But the Rays did throw 5 of their top 5 arms in yesterday's game. But still, Rasmussen should give you some decent yardage here in a sense, and for the price I'm going to lean towards the Rays. I think this one is another good spot. Now, we've taken the Rays in game 1 of the series, didn't work out. Game number 2 worked out. We'll see what we get today, but for such a strong pitching advantage in Rasmussen over Povich, I'm kind of sold there. I also, kind of like we talked about with the Reds, don't mind the idea of the Rays team total over, or we could even just pivot to Baltimore team total over, team total under yet again. That seems like it could be a good look, especially because I've mentioned Rasmussen 4 different times already. All right, next one up, Texas taking on the Twins. In terms of yesterday's game, this ended in a 4-2 win for Texas. Now, I've seen Bailey Ober's name. I've also seen Joe Ryan's name thrown out there. Those are going to be obviously pretty important to pay attention to. On the side of Texas, looks like we are going to get Tyler Mahle. So, yeah, I mean, if it's Joe Ryan, I think this one could be a little bit more narrow. If it's Bailey Ober, not so much. Not totally knocking Ober, but I would still say that this Texas team is the better squad. Now, we talked about it in yesterday's video. It is a little, risky to be thinking this Texas squad is locked in. I know they got the win yesterday, but they got absolutely smacked in the face against that Houston team. And now they pretty much kissed their playoff hopes goodbye, right? So yeah, maybe it is a team like the Twins where they have a lot of guys seeming like they're trying out every single day and stuff like that. Maybe they come in with a little, pizzazz to them and beat up a Texas team that, I don't know if I necessarily want to trust Mahle right now. Obviously, he was out for a while, came back briefly. So to me, this one does have a lot of question marks if you couldn't tell. I'll give you that if it is Bailey Ober, and I've seen his name on more sites than I've seen Joe Ryan, so let's go with Bailey Ober for now. If that's the case, I like Texas. If it is Joe Ryan, I don't know if I'm paying minus 150 for Texas, I'll be completely honest. So, yeah, again, it's going to come down to the pitching because Bailey Ober doesn't have great numbers against the Rangers. Tyler Mahle doesn't either, but I think this Texas team's just a little bit better, like I mentioned. That totals at 7.5. I'm probably taking a peek at some sort of an under because even with Ober, I know, but this Texas lineup, I've been waiting for them to come around the mountain when they come. I really haven't seen too much out of them lately. All right, guys, real quick, before we do move on with the rest of the games, I want to talk to you about Chalkboard. Right now, they're still giving away $20, which is psycho of them. Go take advantage of it. You don't even need to deposit. All you have to do is sign up, and you'll get $20 bonus right there. If you do deposit, you'll get a deposit match as well as a bunch of different promos and free squares that they're offering. This is an absolute no-brainer, guys. I've been loving Chalkboard for the last few months. You will too if it's available in your state. Check it out. Link down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. Make sure to plug in code GUYBOSTON, GUYBOSTON, spelling bee champ. Make sure to plug that in when signing up to secure that free $20. Let's jump back into these games. With this Athletics and Houston teams matchup, whatever we want to call it, I've gotten burned twice. Now, the pitching keeps switching on me, but I'm not going to lie, that's not why we've been getting burned, right? It's because we're backing the Astros. I consistently say they're the better team, and then they get smacked. What was it, 5-1, then 6-0? Today, we do have Framber Valdez on the bump. I do think that gives them a little bit of an advantage, but to me, it's like, how many times, it's like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. Shame on this guy, the big dummy keeps taking this squad. What I will say is that this Athletics team, much better against righties than lefties. Framber Valdez is a southpaw. He comes from this side, okay? So there is an angle that I can get to. He also doesn't throw the fastball that much. Athletics have been crushing the fastball. He does throw the curveball a lot, right? It's like a 33% of his pitch mix type pitch. This team hits the curveball pretty damn well. So yeah, there is a way to look at this up and down. I'm going to say it, and if I had the psycho alert alarm, I'd probably sound it if we were back home. Houston money line is what I'm looking at here. I still, and I'll reiterate what I've been saying and been so wrong about, I still think they are the better squad. But at least with Framber Valdez on the mound, I do kind of like his spot. Now, JT Ginn, we didn't even talk about yet. The guy has been listed to start for like all of these games, and they keep switching it up on us. Sure, he might go in there and pitch decently. I mean, he's good against righties. There's a bunch of righties in this lineup. He also throws the sinker, the slider, not exactly the best pitches for this Astros squad. But is this Astros team about to lose 3 straight to the A's? I can't see it happen, especially with where they are in the playoffs right now. This Astros team slowly bleeding out, right? I think they are at, is it one? It's either 1 or 1.5 games out of the wild card, right? Detroit's now above them. These games, they got swept by Seattle. That was bad. They did sweep Texas. Like, this has been absolutely dramatic for Houston. I don't think that they want to cough up another loss. But, like, to be fair, did they want to cough up the other 2 losses? No. But I'll put the ball in Framber Valdez's hand. Give me them on the money line. Total, I didn't even really talk about, I guess, and honestly, I'm pretty flimsy on this, so don't let it make or break what you're thinking. I guess I would look at Athletics team total under. I mentioned how Valdez is a lefty. That's good. He throws that sinker. That's a good pitch. Yes, you can get me with the curve. I get it. But to me, he's still a really good pitcher. He's not at home. That is very much important to note, but still a good enough pitcher here. Arizona taking on the Diamondbacks. I can't believe I finished that sentence. Arizona taking on the Dodgers. Yeah, yesterday we saw pretty much the same thing that happened in game number one. Now, we played the over in game number one, right? I liked it yesterday, didn't actually get to it, but still went to extra innings. Boom. You can never trust the late innings, honestly, with either one of these squads. Now, on the bump today, Zach Gallen against Yoshinobu Yamamoto. It's super juiced, it's super chalky, but yeah, if you can get this Dodgers team inside minus 150, that's probably what I would consider. As much as I like Zach Gallen and he's been one of my guys, we've seen him obviously absolutely struggle this year, right? Now, if it is Zach Gallen, by the way, because I've also seen, what was the other name that we saw a little bit earlier today? The lefty, Jalen Beeks. If that's the case, I honestly kind of like the Dodgers even more. So, regardless of starting pitching and the two names that we've seen, yeah, Yamamoto's the better side there, and I do think that this Dodgers team is the better offense. Now, hungry dogs run faster. This is a Diamondbacks team that is still eagerly trying to get into the playoffs. They're just a game back on the Mets, so let's keep that in mind, I guess, to some degree. But it's not enough to put me over to the Diamondback side of things. In terms of a total, I don't mind the over. Maybe a Dodgers team total over today, though, because I do think Yamamoto can probably come in here and do a little bit better than we've seen, the last couple pitchers do. Yamamoto, 73 plate appearances against his Dodgers squad, 28.8% K rate, 6.8% walk rate, an average against of 191. I think he'll do pretty decent today. Now, did we have a player prop in this one? I believe we did. Shohei and Mookie Betts, I like their overs, depending on what you can get them at in lines and odds and whatnot. Maybe in some sort of a parlay, hit parlay or something like that. If you wanted 3 from the Dodgers side of things, throw in Andy Pages. Yeah, we got a little spicy with that one. A 3-leg hit parlay on the same team, fat chance. Next up, we got Philadelphia taking on Miami. Philly coming off of was it 11 or 10 to 1 win yesterday. Today on the bump for them, looks like it's going to be Walker Buehler. And you guys should know at this point, as a Red Sox fan, how I feel about Walker Buehler. I don't exactly love him. The problem comes into play here is that this Miami squad has Jansen Junk trotting out there, and Philly should be able to hit him, right? Throws the slider, throws the fastball. Both of those pitches they hit really, really well. I will say he has 2 plate appearances in his career against them and an average against of 0. So maybe that says something. But no, if you can get the Phillies at any sort of consumable odds, it's probably still where I'd ultimately look. From a bullpen perspective, they didn't need to use a bunch of arms either, which is obviously very, very favorable. I will say I think you're getting some good numbers because of Walker Buehler, but he's got a big enough pitch mix that I think that he can navigate this team some way, shape, or form. I'm realistically paying for the offense in a sense if we are taking a juiced line. But even right now, like Philly's at minus 145. Is that all that crazy? I don't necessarily think so. So yeah, give me the Phillies in this spot. I'm also going to lean towards the over because what did I just say about Walker Buehler? He could definitely get hit up. I don't necessarily hate that idea either. Right now, in terms of a line, you can get the over 8.5 for minus 148. Now, is that beating if you just look at the Phillies team total over? Probably for 4.5, and you get, what was the number here? We have it right up here. 3, 2, 1, boom, minus 135. All right, there's a decision to be made there. So I do like runs in this one, and I don't love Walker Buehler, so I could see Miami scoring some. But at the same time, if we're getting near that big juice number, maybe it is just worth saying, hey, let's just take the better team at that point. You know what I mean? Man, this Cleveland team is something. I'd already mentioned how good they have been playing. They're still 9-1 in their last 10, but their win streak, they're like, I want to say it's like 11-2 in their last 30, something crazy. I don't have that up in front of me. But they are now, beating the Tigers in terms of where they are. They are 86-72, and the Tigers 85-73. Now they're playing one another, so any wins in this series go a long way for that race for that, either division spot or to stay within the wild card. Today, in terms of who we have for pitchers, is going to be Parker Messick going up against Kiner Montero. I feel like I'm real late to the party of getting on this Cleveland team, and maybe I'll be the thing that jinxes them here, but that is a big pitching discrepancy, if you ask me. Especially throwing the fact that we're gonna see, Parker Messick throw the fastball, the changeup. He'll mix in the slider, the curveball. Those are pitches he should be able to get this Detroit lineup out against. Now, the one thing that I'll mention, if you do like Detroit today, especially for the plus money, and maybe you can make a case for Kiter. I don't really know how. I mean, he stinks against lefties. There's a ton of lefties in this Cleveland lineup. Nonetheless, that's neither here nor there. Any niche cliche phrase you could say. This is still a Detroit team that hits lefties very, very well. Parker Messick is a lefty, so I guess that's worth noting. But to me, I still do think that this Cleveland team's just doing the damn thing right now. And until further notice, why are we going to continue to fade them? We took the Tigers 2 nights ago. We leaned Tigers last night. I gotta stop missing this here. You know what I mean? Like, this is like the Astros, even though I kind of feel like I'm gonna roll with the Astros today and actually play them. But nonetheless, like, fading the Guardians, at the very worst, we should be staying away instead of trying to fade them. So I'll lean towards the Guards. Maybe a peek at their team total over as well. I don't really love what this Detroit bullpen's become. And Kiter Montero gets a thumb down from your boy Ev here. I will also say, from a player prop perspective, Steven Kwan, batting .294 against righties last 30 days. He has a decent pitch mix here. I'd kind of mentioned some of the pitches that Montero will throw. Actually, no, we talked about Messick, right? Montero's going to throw a lot of fastballs, a lot of sliders, a lot of sinkers. He'll also throw the knuckle curve. That's a really good pitch. Kwan could see a slider or a knuckle curve and do some damage with it. So I do like his overs, whether it's bases or hits, runs, and RBIs. Yankees taking on the White Sox. Don't really have too much in this game. Rodon is going up against, I believe it was Davis Martin, yes, for the White Sox. Obviously, Rodon's very good. This White Sox team, their offense has come right back down the earth. I think the only saving grace you have here today is that you're looking at potentially 80% of chance of precipitation. So that's not all that great if you do think that, this is going to be a team that tees off on Davis Martin. But again, minus 300, I don't even know what the run line is, but either one of those spots is probably where I'd look. But it ends up being somewhat of a parlay piece, right? Maybe Yankees team total over as well. But again, we're just kind of saying the chalked things. Like, I don't think that we get anything out of this game because it's been priced so heavily right now. Toronto taking on the Red Sox. Garrett Crochet comes through for us yesterday, right? This Red Sox team ends up winning their 87th game of the season. Boom. Means we cash another team total over. Blue Jays cash. Well, first and foremost, our biggest future play of the year, Cody Bellinger, multiple units on that. And then we doubled down on him later on in the year and got like a 2 home run more of a difference. But nonetheless, he already hit his home run over. That's a total that we cashed. Red Sox team total over that cash. Reds team total over that cash. Toronto team total over that cashed as well. The only one that I'm really feeling crappy about is Diamondbacks team total over, right? I think they need to win 86 games. Or 85 games. I don't know what it is. I don't think that they ultimately do that. I don't even know if they have enough games to do it. Anyways, back to this game, why we're here, right? On the mound, we have Louis Varland. Looks like he's going to get the ball to start this game. We'll see where they end up going. Bullpen's fairly fresh. He's going up against Brian Bayo. Now, Brian Bayo has obviously had a very good year. Started to kind of get in some muddy waters, I guess, but honestly, I don't even mind his numbers and his expected numbers, especially against this Toronto squad. So if we look at him, overall, yeah, he's got, again, when I say Toronto squad, I mean the actual guys that are in the lineup, not just Toronto as a whole. But anyways, 292 average. You're like, okay, that's not all that great, right, Ev? But 232 average against, okay. WOBA at 342, not all that great, right? But an expected WOBA below 300. Some advanced numbers say that Bayo could or should have been a little bit better in this spot. Now, what do we know about Brian Bayo? I think a lot of people know this, but I definitely know as a Red Sox fan. I almost said as a Celtics fan, but kind of the same thing applies. He throws a ton of sinkers. Toronto, that's the pitch you want to throw to them right now, right? Also, the changeup. Okay, he throws a ton of changeup. So the 2 pitches that he's going to throw a lot of the time should be very, very good. Now, he'll throw the slider in there, and that's the pitch that they can tee off on, and I get it. But, you look at Vladimir Guerrero, one of the most feared bats in that lineup. He doesn't hit it all that well, right? George Springer's the only guy that's, like, smacking around the slider right now. So I kind of like the Red Sox. Don't necessarily love the idea of this series turning out to be 3 games in a row for the Red Sox. I get that. But to me, I do think that the Red Sox have Brian Bayo, at their back, and it could be pretty beneficial. I'll also lean towards their team total over because I don't know how many innings Varland's going to give you. And then even with that rested Toronto bullpen, I say bring it on. This Red Sox team can score, man. One player prop, and I'm not sure if we get there, but it's really because he hits actually two player props. I would actually say that both these guys don't hit the slider all that well. Yikes, Nathan Lucas, which is I think I've learned how to pronounce his name, not Luke's, Lucas, and Addison Barger. I like both of them under in their hits, runs, and RBIs. Dalton Varsho as well, but I don't know exactly if you're going to get a great line behind him. Cubs taking on the Mets. We have two games in a row now where one of the teams went off, right? Mets didn't. I guess you could also say the Cubs didn't game one, but nonetheless, Chicago winning 10-3 yesterday. Now we have Nolan McLean on the bump going up against Shota Imanaga. Imanaga's pitch mix may not look all that great against this Mets squad. I mean, he's going to throw the fastball. They're number one in the league last 30 days, runs above average. He's going to throw the splitter. They're top 10. He's going to throw the slider. They're number one in the league. But he is a lefty, and this Mets team kind of struggles a little bit more against lefties. So for them at home here, Imanaga at home, he's going to also see a decent amount of righties. I do think that he can pitch fairly well, and that totals down at 7.5. Now, if the books had come in and put this at, 8.5, 9, I'd say, okay, that means there's going to be some offense here, and I do think that the Mets, based on that pitch mix I just described, they could hit it pretty well. But the fact that this totals down there at 7.5, and I know it has to do with Wrigley, but that tells me if we get into some form, I should say, of a pitcher's duel, I'm taking Imanaga over Nolan McLean, even though McLean has looked very, very good. So give me the Cubs, as well as a potential peak at a nerf here, first 3 under. I think the early going of this game could be a good look to have 0 or 2 runs scored through the first 3. Angels taking on the Royals. We clutched up with this one. It was a weird match to dig into, but I told you guys I liked the idea of the first 3 under. We actually played it, and boom, it comes through. A little sweaty, but it does come through. In terms of who we have on the bump today, it's going to be Michael Lorenzen going up against Mitch Ferris. Not exactly the biggest Mitch Ferris fan, but he does throw with his left hand, and we've talked about this Royals team and how they struggle against lefties and yada, yada, yada. Now, did they struggle against the lefties yesterday? Yeah, they scored 2 runs, and the Angels were able to beat them just with 3 runs scored. So who's to say something like that doesn't happen again? I just don't like the price. You're paying minus odds, minus money here for the Angels in a spot in which I don't love their pitcher. I also don't love their offense. So yeah, I guess I would say I like the Angel spot just because the Royals can't hit lefties, but not for that price. I still think we should be getting like plus 105 instead of minus 110. Now, a total, I could be convinced yet again of an Urfi first 3 or first 5 under. We have Michael Lorenzen on the bump, righties. LA's not hitting anyone, especially righties, well right now. And then Mitch Ferris, we've already kind of dug that in, right? This Royals team does not hit lefties all that well. So some way, shape, or form of under, I could get behind that. Ending it off with a not so banger. Seattle taking on Colorado. Emerson Hancock against Bradley Blaylock. Yeah, I mean, this is a Seattle team that is much, much better. We know that, and they've shown that. Emerson Hancock, I'm not sitting here saying that I really, really do want to trust him by any means, but there could be a side of me that puts Seattle in some sort of a money line parlay or something like that. I just think they're the better team, and especially when this is a Rockies team on the road, it's just nothing I want to get involved in. So it's probably a pass for me, but I would lean towards Seattle. In terms of what we have from a total, it's at 8. I'm not sure what we'll get from Blaylock or Hancock, but what I can almost guarantee, and I hate to use that word in this industry, but like this Rockies offense isn't all that great. So maybe a Rockies team total under could be something to consider as well. And then in terms of pitch mixes I like in this game, I do like Julio Rodriguez. I think that could be a decent game for him. He's going to see a ton of fastballs. He hits that well. Also, Blaylock is a righty. He's been batting really well against righties, so definitely something to consider there. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Again, we are away from home, so it's going to be a little bit different. We went through the entire slate. We didn't have the pop-ups, the graphics, or anything like that. But go ahead and comment 23 if you made it this far in the video. When I do these videos outside of the normal setup and at the place and all that, right? And people stick around till the very end, it literally makes my day. I'm not even blowing smoke up here, you know what. So if you made it this far in the video, let me know by commenting 23, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, right? Peace out.